Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully you've got a protest to attend to today. Because, wow.
Are the USAID checks back up and running?
No.
Then no.
You're not ready for protest?
No, because then my check isn't coming. Then I'm not going to show up. That's a rent-a-mob.
All right.
The USAID stuff is.
No, those are people who are just seriously outraged at what's going on right now, Keith. They are protesting in the streets all over America now because Democrats have begged them to. So resist we much, and we will much about that. Be committed.
Yeah, that sounds right.
In the words of a great American. I think I quoted that accurately. Here's one of the... Now, some of these protests are because we're actually upholding U.S. law. Hate when we do that. Don't you hate that?
We're not used to that.
No, we're not. We're actually not.
You lash out when it's imposed upon you.
How dare you? How dare you enforce U.S. law? Who do you think you are? Well, law enforcement officers. Huh.
How dare you?
Yeah, exactly. But here's what was going on in Salt Lake City on Saturday, I believe. They're walking down State Street. Look at that crowd. I haven't seen an estimate of how many people that is, but
I'll look that
looks
up.
like a lot. Are you kidding me? Utahns? Come on. Because we're enforcing U.S. law. What happened to, obeying the laws of the land?
1,100 people.
Happened to that? Oh, that's only 1,100 people?
Yeah.
Okay,
They must have been
mind.
in the back.
Yeah.
They must have been in the back. No, but I mean, still, to your point, though, I mean...
Come on.
That's the middle of America.
Yeah,
Stop.
Right. In a conservative area.
Yeah.
So, do we not believe in enforcing the laws of the land and living by the laws of the land anymore?
So
has that been thrown out the window?
It's not your number. What's a number we should we care about? Since 1,100 was like, oops, it's only 1,100 people there.
If it was 11 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was 11 million, then I'd take
Hold on.
notice.
I think the bigger issue is, if we could put the video back up, is that Pat thought that this represented 11 million people. That he thought it was worth,
it looks like...
okay,
Look
sir.
at that. You're telling me that's not 11 million people
I can
right
see
there?
that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's 11 million.
Right.
Wow.
Takes up a couple... So you know how long the blocks are in Salt Lake City? Really long.
Okay, so that's deceived. Now let me get my glasses.
Inside information. Got it.
Okay.
But 1,100. I spit at 1,100 people. But the left-wing media and lefty congressmen and women they're out of their minds right now. And again, firing up crowds like this, trying to get people in the streets, trying to get people violent.
Boy, it's also in the pulpits, too. I don't know if you saw the Pastor James Caudle in Chattanooga, clip 6.
I don't think I did.
He's got a message for his flock.
Let's see it now.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go and we will not go. So therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary.
Wait, what?
When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury...
Pause it for a second. Did he not just contradict himself? Was he not just saying, we will not do that? Now he's saying sometimes it's necessary. And it's necessary because we're auditing the government? Is that why? Let him go. Let's hear why it's necessary sometimes.
Beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary.
Oh, my gosh.
When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check,
that's not what he did.
There is a possibility of violence.
Emphasize that.
Wow.
Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent.
Like he's acting through you right now? I mean, this is
someone might say, now,
despicable.
Reverend, you shouldn't be talking about violence. This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did. Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he?
Wow, this is just
the kingdom
blasphemy
of heaven
now.
suffers what? Violence.
Blasphemy.
And the violent take it by force. The kingdom of God is a war zone. It is a battlefield. You did know this, right?
Wow. That's crazy talk. That's unbelievable. Jeez. But, that's what we're hearing right now. That's the kind of stuff. Because Elon Musk forced his way into the treasury and stole your social security number? Come on. Elon Musk has been appointed by the president to audit the United States of America and its government. He's doing something lawful right now. They are not taking unilateral actions. They can't. They're just looking at this and then making recommendations. That's all they can do. We heard that from the Secretary of Treasury. They don't even have the power to change these things. That's done by the Federal Reserve. But instead, this is all we're hearing. Elected officials are killing democracy. They're freezing foreign aid. And they're killing children around the globe. They have no authority. Imperialism. He's trying to take over Canada and Panama and the Gaza Strip and Greenland. It's unprecedented, they keep telling us. Is it, though? Is it really unprecedented? While the left is having their conniption fit over all of this, including the possibility of some kind of agreement to be involved in Greenland, maybe use some of their resources, we have to remember this has happened before. How people are so short-sighted sometimes. We experienced the same kind of hysteria when the United States purchased the Louisiana Purchase and Alaska. You might remember the Louisiana Purchase cost us $15 million. And that it was inevitable that France was not going to be able to maintain their presence in America as we expanded. They just couldn't be here. So if it hadn't happened transactionally, it would have happened militarily eventually. But in one fell swoop, the Louisiana Purchase doubled the size of our country. And when you break that down into acreage, it amounts to 4 cents per acre. 4 cents. Can you get an acre of land anywhere in America now for 4 cents? I don't think so. Of course, 4 cents with inflation, probably like $1.50 now. So that's the price has really increased.
What was Alaska? About 2 cents an acre, right?
It was exactly 2 cents an acre. Yep. But even if you used inflation for the 1803 Louisiana Purchase, it'd only be $340 million in today's money. $340 million.
What a deal.
And as you mentioned, in 1867, we bought Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
For less than half what we paid in 1803. We got a state that's rich in resources and just slightly less territory than the Louisiana Purchase.
Sounds like Trump's working on a deal that Zelensky appears open to give us some rare earth minerals. They're gonna milk us for their security. Then we're gonna get a little something for that.
Yeah. So this is not unprecedented. I mean, these purchases were really controversial at the time. Secretary of State William Seward, who made the deal for Alaska, Americans were so enraged by that, they called it Seward's Folly. I'm sure, you've learned that in school. Or Seward's Icebox. See, because Alaska is kind of cold sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, $7 million in 1867 works out to a whopping 2 cents an acre. Even in today's world, $7 million then would be about $157 million today. Worth it? I mean, we could blow $157 million on a tunnel for turtles or funding a really important Shakespearean play about a one-legged, non-binary nun in Uganda.
I'm glad you didn't leave that out.
Yeah. Well, it's an important expenditure.
Sure is.
From USAID. So obtaining Alaska for that price, it was an incomprehensibly brilliant move. And obviously, you can say the same thing for the Louisiana Purchase. And now, here we are talking about another potentially incredible purchase, like Greenland. So this is not Trump acting like an imperialist dictator. It isn't Trump reenacting Napoleon or Hitler. Throughout history, we've made deals that benefit the country overall in ways that at the time people couldn't even have imagined and they were pissed off about. Even at the end of the Mexican-American War with Mexico, we've talked about this before, we drove the Mexican army all the way to their capital city and captured Mexico City. And then at the end of the war, we gave it all back to them in the Treaty of Guadalupe. And on top of it, we paid them another $15 million for the land they previously held north of the border. Who does that? Only we do. Only we have. I mean, we just kicked your anuses sideways, but you know what? We feel kind of bad now. So we're going to remove all our troops, give you back all your land up to the border, and what do you say to an extra $15 million among friends?
Yeah.
Let's just forget the whole thing. But that's how we wound up with California, Nevada, Utah, parts of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming. I mean, that was a pretty good purchase. People were pissed off about the war at the time. Pretty good purchase. So was James K. Polk Hitler? Or, was he just the kind of president that you would name a Tuesday after? I think that's what he was. He was
James K. Polk Tuesday.
That's the kind of president he was. I'm sure his family's proud.
Yeah. And, the Russia-Alaska thing, that was even better for America than just 2 cents an acre. Mm-hmm. That was during the Civil War. I mean, they were over here with their ships in our ports, basically flexing to Britain to keep them from joining the South. They were just kind of like, yeah, we're on America's side, the North, just so you know. And so Lincoln had the benefit of making it look like we had this, massive navy behind the North. Mm-hmm. And then as a thank you, yeah, we'll take Alaska off your hands. That's cool. Man, that was I think Russia's been pissed ever since about 1863.
Yeah. And, with that stupid move their leaders made back then, they probably should be pissed, just not at us.
Yeah.
Be pissed at the czar for doing that. We didn't do that to you.
They could have used that money later on in World War I.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wow.
Those resources.
Jeez.
That would have been helpful. But anyway, communists came in and took over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But, when you're talking about these things with your friends, just to fill them in on a little bit of history.
History, right? Put it into context. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's we're not a static nation. We're dynamic. And when opportunities present themselves,
we take advantage of them.
You want people in power, in office.
Yeah, to recognize it.
Yes.
And do something about it.
I think it's called putting America first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what Thomas Jefferson did with the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, what he did was probably not technically constitutional.
Nope.
Good president can't just make that decision unilaterally, and people were kind of upset about it. He was upset about it, but he did it anyway.
He was upset about a lot of things that he went ahead and did. He's a human.
Yeah.
But honestly, the founders are the worst offenders when it comes to violating their own playbook, the rules that they came up with.
Yeah.
I mean, look
some
at
of them were.
John Adams.
Oh, my gosh, with the Alien Sedition Act? Holy cow.
In other words, we've been struggling since literally day one.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's go back to Washington and...
But, I mean, we've done pretty well in 247 years. I mean, name the other country that's done better than we have. There aren't any. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It really is hard. Freedom, it takes some effort. And you make some mistakes with it. And, we've done that.
Yeah, and the difference is, and Glenn's made this clear in the past with the Black Rome Regiment and everything like that. You've got the pastors back in the colonial days were trying to rally Americans to stand up to tyranny. Now you got guys like this
doing the opposite.
Guy in Chattanooga.
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
He wants to join up with tyranny.
Wow, that's crazy. That is nuts. Somebody should look into that guy because that's not good. All right, so while we may have won this particular election, the fight to restore our great nation is only beginning. Now is the time to take a stand. And Patriot Mobile is leading that charge. Man, they have been in this fight for a good long time. As America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, Patriot Mobile offers a way to vote with your wallet without compromising on quality or convenience. That's what I love about it is you want to do something altruistic, something you really believe in, right? But you don't want to have to compromise your convenience and the coverage that you have and all the things that you actually need. And you don't have to do that with Patriot Mobile because they're on all the same towers as the big liberal giants. You're going to get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on the 3 major networks. So if you have cell service today, you can get cell service with Patriot Mobile and coverage guarantees. But the difference is every dollar you spend supports the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our veterans and first responders. So you're going to feel good about things. Switching is really easy. You can keep your number or your phone or both. You can upgrade if you want. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service support team will help you find the perfect plan for you. Right now, go to patriotmobile.com/Pat, patriotmobile.com/Pat, or just call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with the promo code PAT. Switch to Patriot Mobile today and defend freedom with every single call and text you make. patriotmobile.com/Pat or 972-PATRIOT.
Pat Gray returns.
So, Chris, you found that same pastor from Chattanooga that called for violence after George Floyd?
Yep, he sure did. And he said,
and that worked out well for him, didn't it?
He said if you don't support the movement, it's a great sin.
This guy's a lunatic.
By the way, I looked up that verse that he read. I found it. It was Matthew 11 and 12, and it's totally out of context.
I knew
yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
shocker.
it is.
Stunning. So what does it say?
I already closed the tab, bro.
Oh, you did?
You can take my word for it. I can make a little
We'll just trust you on that.
quick thing here.
Sure,
but
you're
basically,
right.
it just talks about how the kingdom of heaven has been subject to violence since the days of, I think it said John the Baptist. So it wasn't saying we should all go and be violent.
Right.
It was so. And did you notice his little graphic? It wasn't the entire verse, and it wasn't even the verse wasn't even cited.
It was not cited, yeah.
What a piece of work.
He just said Jesus said this.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So speaking of all of this, Google Maps just updated, and it now actually calls the Gulf of Mexico. There it is, the Gulf of America.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, the problem is when you, and I'm hopefully it's just a glitch, I'm sure, because it's Google, so I'm sure it's just an innocent mistake. But when you zoom in and out, like it changes to Mexico and then America, then so I don't know if it's like some coding issue,
weird.
But
Or if they did it on purpose.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And then someone suggested, because I posted this picture last night on Twitter, and somebody suggested that if I change my VPN to another country, then I bet it says Gulf of Mexico. I thought, that's smart. I did, and it did not change it.
Really?
So,
oh, wow.
Google is doing...
That's kind of surprising.
Did I see a thing? I need to look at this. Did Google get rid of Pride Month as one of their calendars? I haven't verified that. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Did they really?
Google Calendar has removed events like Pride and BHM because its holiday list wasn't sustainable. Okay, we have to have an excuse. What's BHM? Oh, Black History Month.
Okay, so that should be this month, right?
Yeah.
I think February.
So
is
normally
Black
you
History
get
Month.
that on the first of the month.
You should, yeah.
Yeah.
And you get beaten over the head with it all.
Yes, you do.
Every single day of that month.
And all the streaming services tell you must watch all this because it was by black people.
Here's a list of black programs for you. Well, isn't that a little racist? Why are those black programs? Just because black people are in them?
Yes, yes.
All right.
So,
Going back to the Gulf of America, here's Trump flying over Gulf of America on Air Force One.
Okay.
Air Force One is currently in international waters, the first time in history flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, he did that well.
He did that well.
So great. Make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
What's he signing there? Do we know?
I don't think he said.
He did that. Oh, that's for the Gulf of America.
Is it the Gulf of America?
So this is a famous pen now.
Okay, so
now you're just trolling him.
Yes.
Gulf of America, that's just a way to troll the left.
So I'm just looking here on my Google Calendar. And yes, I did get a notification on February 1st, 2023. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and February 2022. When did they stop doing this? Because, let's see, so 2024, I got a note, a little thing on the first of the month. So did people just now pick up on this? Or is this a recent development? Do we know, Chris?
I have no idea. I didn't know that. I don't have Google stuff. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. You're too good.
You don't have Google?
Yeah, he's an Apple iPhone. He's an elitist.
Oh, right. Okay. But, I mean, use Google.
I'm surprised he even
engine.
acknowledged my question about an Android situation.
It is an Android situation.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But anyway, good for good. I mean, all
good
of
for
these.
them.
Boy, June's going to be interesting.
Disney is even backing off. They've dropped, I think, 2 of their DEI shows that they were planning. While I guess their investors are begging them to keep going forward on this woke mission they're on to lose money and the company eventually. I don't know. Hopefully, they'll wake up.
Remember how we used to monitor Target's stock price when I forgot what the issue was? I don't know.
It was the trans.
I think it was. Yeah. Well, Target's been sued for defrauding shareholders on DEI. The retailer was hit with a lawsuit alleging it misled investors about DEI initiative risks, which led to consumer boycotts and diving stocks. So, boy, June's going to be an interesting Pride Month this year.
Yeah, it is.
How many rainbow logos are we going to see?
Less would be my guess.
I think considerably less. Uh-huh. This is going to be really fun to watch.
That's fun.
Now I'm actually looking forward to Pride Month for a change.
Here's another thing that the left is making a big deal out of. Here's what Donald Trump was asked about his successor yesterday. Here's what happened.
Do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor?
Oh, this is Super Bowl Sunday.
Republican nominee in 2028.
No, but he's very capable.
Wait, what?
I don't think that I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting.
By the time you get to the midterms, he's going to be looking for an endorsement.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this has been the greatest opening, almost 3 weeks, in the history of the presidency.
It's definitely been the fastest and the most stuff
Well,
happening.
we've done so much so fast, and we really had to, because they have really, what they've done to our country is so sad. It's so sad. We're going to be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
Special report anchor and executive editor Brett.
So they're making a big deal out of the fact that he just flatly said no to J.D. Vance as his successor. Any guesses as to why he would just reject that out of hand?
I feel
3
like
words.
that does.
Donald Trump Jr.?
Oh.
Maybe?
Interesting.
Maybe? Yeah. I'm thinking there's a really good chance Donald Trump Jr. runs, and in that eventuality, he can't endorse J.D. Vance. He's not going to. He's going to endorse his son, and his son will probably. I mean, his son's always in the list. He's always on the list of potential candidates down the road. And now I think J.D. Vance is a better choice in my mind, but it's understandable that he would say no at this point. I mean, that's just honest. You know, they're not. People can't get used to the fact that there's any kind of honesty coming from a politician. He'd usually equivocate on that. Well, I don't know. It's too late. Too early on that. I don't want to speculate. There's going to be a lot of really good candidates that I'm going to sort through it, and let's just see who's going to run. Well, no. He just flat out said no. I don't consider him my predecessor or successor. Jeez. I wonder how JD feels about that. He probably knows, right? He knows his son's going to run. He's got his work cut out for him, but he's got a leg up in the competition because he's vice president. And he's great. He's just really good. And I think we're going to really come to enjoy his presence in the administration over the next 4 years. But we'll see. We'll see. It's just another little thing that the left has to needle Trump with and to try to create division among Republicans. Look at this. He says J.D. Vance, they must not get along. He must not like the job he's doing. On and on and on. Also, the leftists in the media are claiming that the USAID did not give any money to for trans surgeries in Guatemala. Seen all these denials? They're just flat out saying, no, that didn't happen. That's a lie. When you fact check it, it comes up as false. But if you're on the left, you might want to check a site called usaspending.gov. You might recognize that as a government-oriented website. See it for yourself. If you don't believe the information coming from Elon Musk, you can find it right there on a website by the government to track government spending. Just a little suggestion. It's not that difficult. They have spent money on all of these crazy projects and agendas around the world. And it's interesting because a lot of the leaders of these countries don't want this kind of spending. They're not as far left-wing as a lot of our leaders are. I mean, we have surpassed Europe and Central and South America in crazy left-wing lunatics. And I think they pride themselves on that. Also, there's a book now that reveals Trump's worry about Iran targeting him. Their threat to assassinate Donald Trump during the 2024 campaign was far more serious than has been publicly talked about. And it led to extraordinary precautions by his team that included using a decoy plane to avert a feared attempt on his life.
Yeah, this is pretty intense stuff from the book Revenge, the inside story of Trump's return to power. Yeah, this is a lot of interesting details in this thing.
Yeah, things like law enforcement officials warned Trump last year that Tehran had placed operatives in the U.S. with access to surface-to-air missiles. Oof. That's chilling.
In the country. Yikes.
Trump's team worried that the Iranians, and keep in mind, last year he wasn't flying around in Air Force One, so it doesn't have the same kind of defense mechanisms that Air Force One has. I mean, he's got that now, but he didn't then. Trump's team worried that the Iranians could try to down his easily recognizable personal jet, better known as Trump Force One, as it was taking off for landing. The concern intensified after the foiled assassination attempt of Trump at his golf course in West Palm Beach on September 15th. That was the second attempt on his life. Iran's been linked to that incident or the shooting in Pennsylvania 2 months earlier in which the bullet nicked his ear. But at one point, soon after the Florida event, Trump's security detail was concerned enough about the Iranian threat that it had Trump travel to an event on a decoy plane owned by Steve Wilkoff.
Yeah, listen to this.
He's a Trump friend and real estate executive who's now Trump's envoy to the Middle East. Much of Trump's staff traveled on Trump Force One that day, infuriating some aides who worried they'd be collateral damage if the jet were shot down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on that plane.
Well, yeah, they...
Co-campaign managers, Susie Wiles, now the White House chief of staff, and Chris Lasvita decided to split up. Wiles traveled on Witkoff's plane with Trump, while Lasvita joined staffers on Trump Force One. Many aides on the Trump jet didn't learn about the hush-hush plan until just before takeoff.
Here we go. Buckle up. We might.
By the way, it might be shot down.
Yeah, but have fun.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Beverages are coming through the aisle shortly. If we're not,
just make sure your seat back and tray table are in their full and upright locked positions, if you would, for takeoff and landing. Apparently, the flight was a surreal experience with gallows humor galore. 3 aides later said, "This was some serious, use the word stuff." They said those aboard realized it was very serious.
Yeah, big credible threat when he went to Long Island as well. This has been pretty intense behind the scenes.
Yeah, way worse than we thought.
Unleashed.
some tweets here. Jimmy Dimples tweets, I thought NFL football season was over. What's up with all the AstroTurf in Salt Lake City streets? Well, are you saying that's not organic?
Yeah, right.
Is that what you're saying? Huh. Didn't even think of that.
It looked like between 1,100 and 11 million people there out in the streets. So.
Yeah, it was a lot. I don't know if they were bought and paid for, but paying for 11 million people must have cost a pretty penny. But there they are, because we're upholding U.S. law, and they're pissed off about it. Who can blame them? Since when do we start upholding U.S. law?
It's funny because it's true.
I know. Well, since January 20th, that's when. That's the answer to it. So deal with it. Frank Johnson's alter ego. How much per acre have we sent to Ukraine?
Oh, my gosh. I want to do that math.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, where do you even start, though? Because
so how much do we think we've spent there?
I think it's $200 billion.
All right. So
I think it's more than that. But let's just conservatively say $200 billion.
Okay. I'll get back
in humanity and humanitarian and military aid. Not Jess F. tweets, no matter how many times I open Apple Maps, it still says Gulf of Mexico. I think Apple is working for Potter.
What? They're dead naming the Gulf of America?
They are. Yeah, they sure are.
You can't be doing that.
What, are you working for Potter now? For an Apple, you say? Well, you're screwy. That's what you are. I mean, I'm surprised Google has actually made the change. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, that's better than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. So, Hamas just canceled the hostage exchange that was supposed to happen over the weekend. Things were going way too smoothly. It was actually working out. Everybody was, I guess, fulfilling their end of the bargain. Israel sending hundreds of prisoners back to Hamas. Hamas sending 3 or 4 people back to Israel. I mean, it's pathetic. But at least hostages were being released. And now they're suspending that until further notice. They blame Israel, of course, for violating the ceasefire agreement by delaying the return of displaced people and blocking aid and supplies from reaching the Gaza Strip. Whether or not they're doing that, I don't know. Who knows? But that's not a violation of the ceasefire, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe they have both those things in there. Our displaced people must be allowed back into the rubble. And aid, I mean, I wouldn't be in favor of stopping aid from going to people who need it. Announcing the cancellation of any further releases of hostages via the group's official Telegram account on Monday, the group said, during the past 3 weeks, the resistance leadership, jeez, very generous with terms for themselves, has monitored the enemy's violations and failure to abide by the terms of the agreement. The violations, the group claims, include delaying the return of displaced people to the northern Gaza Strip, targeting them with shelling and gunfire in various areas of the Gaza, and not allowing relief supplies of all kinds to enter as agreed upon. While the resistance has implemented all its obligations, we've sent like 6 people back. Pathetic. Accordingly, the handover of the Zionist prisoners who are scheduled to be released next Saturday, February 15th, will be postponed until further notice and until the occupation commits to and compensates for the entitlements of the past weeks retroactively. Hamas said it affirms our commitment to the agreement terms as long as the occupation commits to them. They've just been looking for a way to save face and get out of this agreement. Defense Minister Israel Katz condemned Hamas's decision to delay the release of the Israeli hostages, calling it an outright violation of the ceasefire. He instructed IDF to maintain the highest level of alert for any developments in Gaza and to protect Israeli border communities. We will not return to the reality of October 7th, he said. I mean, it's incredible that this has gone on this long and they're still getting away with this kind of garbage. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
Of the 251 hostages that were taken on October 7th, 73 are still being held in Gaza. 34 of those 73 are confirmed dead by the IDF. So there's only, 39 living hostages still in Gaza? Does that include any Americans now? Or did we get the one remaining living American a few weeks ago? I know they've sent one American. That's all I'm aware of. The rest have been Israelis. So I don't know if there's any more living hostages from America. Just it's despicable what's going on.
And so now you have the new deadline, Saturday noon, is what Trump wants.
Yeah. After a fresh batch of executive orders, President Trump said that the hostages still being held must be returned by Saturday at noon, or the ceasefire deal should be canceled and all hell will break loose. I love that term. And reporters keep asking him, like he's going to tell you. What does that mean? All hell will break loose. What exactly are you going to do? What time are you going to do it? And with what method will it happen?
Yeah, and his response was, quote, "You'll find out, and they'll find out too."
Yeah.
Hamas will find out what I mean.
I love that. I love it. He said, as far as I'm concerned, if all the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday. And if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2.
That's a quote.
That's a quote.
That is a quote.
I'm not making that up.
I love it.
By Saturday at noon. And after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
Because otherwise,
love it.
What are we on pace for to get the hostages next month, maybe? I don't...
Yeah, well, to get all of them returned, I think October of 2930.
2930.
Yes,
so,
we should have every citizen returned by then.
I did love the quote from the Hamas leader who told the French news agency AFP, quote, "Mr. Trump's comments further complicate matters," end quote. Yeah, you better believe it.
So Hamas,
don't mess with us.
A Hamas representative said that?
Yeah. So basically, they got
Good.
nothing. They didn't come back with a threat. They didn't, they're just like, oh, that complicates matters.
Yeah. I don't want to have to do that, but I think it's time to put the hammer down if they don't release the hostages. I mean, it's ridiculous that, hundreds and hundreds of prisoners have been exchanged from Israel to Hamas. Correct. And these are people who've committed crimes in Israel. These are violent offenders in a lot of cases. So, and why, Trump mentioned it shouldn't be 3-1 or 2-1 or 3-1. It's been more like 100-1. It's been at least 75-1.
And it's a different ratio depending on the sex, I think, and the age or something. It's like...
Yeah. It's
these games
ridiculous.
With terrorists. I mean, just...
Time to stop playing patty cake with them.
Don't like it.
Yeah. Just end these people. I mean, the Gaza has been pretty well destroyed. We've talked about that. We showed you some photos of that. So I don't even know what they're returning to. I honestly don't understand how you can return to that rubble. What are you going to do there? Is there food there? Or is there shelter? Is there business? Can you make a living? I mean, what are you going to do in the Gaza Strip now?
I will say this. This isn't the Gaza Strip, but Breaking 911 posted last night an approximate 35,000 jobs. That's right, 35,000 jobs have already reportedly been lost in Jordan since USAID cuts have taken place.
Oh, wow. What?
So America has been employing 35,000 Jordanians as 6 million Americans remain unemployed.
That's crazy. That is amazing.
That is... There's other words I want to use.
But Keith, children are dying. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I do.
Children are dying.
I've heard that.
Because we're reviewing our spending practices in this country.
People are suffering. People are dying.
Thank you, Greta. Thank you.
Autistic Nazi.
What is she, like 43 now or something? I don't know. She's been around a long, long time. Getting a little long in the tooth, and nobody seems to pay attention to her anymore.
Aww.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
She had to change protest. Now she supports Hamas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
she's no longer a climate warrior. She's a Hamas warrior.
Gosh. That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Well, because the Israelis committing genocide.
Yes.
Or whatever. They're really bad at it. You know? They're really bad at genocide.
They're stuck at that one thing they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. It's like the insurrectionists
they
on
really sucked
January
that one
6th.
too.
They really were bad at it. Nobody even showed up with a weapon. That's not a good way to conduct an insurrection. In overtime today, we're going to try to, Keith and I guess Hillary. Will Hillary be here?
Oh, yeah, I guess I better.
Because I'm filling in for Glenn today.
Okay.
He's doing something with somebody.
Wait.
So he's not,
hold on.
not
He's
on the
doing
air.
something
He's doing something
with somebody. Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's not sexual, though.
Oh.
You're making it sound...
I didn't say anything.
No one made anything sound
I
anything.
didn't say anything.
You're making it sound seedy, and you know it.
He just repeated your words back.
I sure did.
So did you give him the birthday shirt and pants
I
yesterday?
did.
How
I
did he
sure
like
did.
it?
Oh, he loved it.
Yeah?
He loved them. Yeah. He can't wait to put them on and take his wife out to dinner because he's going to look snazzy.
Okay, hold on.
In that outfit.
Hold the phone.
Can you go get those?
Okay,
really quick.
This back and
Chris,
forth.
I should show these if you haven't seen them.
With the birthday prints.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's nothing to it. It's just like, here it is. It's a radio bit, right? It's on TV, whatever.
Yeah.
You just triggered something that made me think there's got to be a bet involved here. So one of you guys has to wear that in public. Wear it to work, just throughout a day.
I told him he must take Tanya out to dinner in this outfit, this birthday outfit that I spent a lot of money on. This is a designer, a very well-known designer outfit.
When you get it back in November, you're going to do the same?
Well, no, because he'll have worn it. Ick.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
I'm wearing his hand-me-downs. But here's
look at those pants. Now,
beautiful pair of pants.
Can I see what size are those pants? I'll wear the pants.
Don't know.
Actually,
You'd wear the pants?
I'd wear both of those, just not at the same time. If you're listening, they are. You got to get to YouTube.
Pink
you got to
and
get
green
to
and
paisley nonsense.
Just really beautiful.
People were pointing out. I posted the pictures of them online yesterday, and they were pointing out that was the Mardi Gras colors right there. That kind of is a little, almost a Super Bowl 59 look.
Wow, these are big. They're 38.
Put a belt on.
They will no longer fit me. So these are made in Italy.
There you go.
By Ralph Lauren.
Dude,
I mean, these are dang nice.
So
feel that fabric.
Yeah,
those are nice.
I'm
And then
38.
here's the shirt that goes with it.
I want to play around a golf in these.
This is a darn snazzy outfit.
And it has to be on TV.
Uh-huh.
I like that. That's a nice
like that?
shirt.
Okay,
That's a
so
nice
you
shirt.
would be upset if I wore these? I mean, because it's a gift to Glenn. You didn't get it from me.
It is a gift to Glenn. Would you seriously wear that out? Would you do it?
I'd wear like one. Like I said, one.
You'd wear it in the studio, but you wouldn't wear it out in public, right?
Yeah, I'm not changing. So
Okay.
yeah, I'd wear it home.
I'll wear that to church this weekend.
You would
Dude,
not.
I will fight you
If you
over
give
these
me those, I will wear
Really?
those at church this weekend.
Really?
Oh, heck yes.
Hell, I'm just gonna put them on during the break.
That's great.
None of this nonsense. let's
You really would, Chris?
Yes, sir.
You'd wear these to church.
I will wear that to church.
Would
on
you not be
Sunday.
thrown out of the building?
Why would I be thrown out? There's nothing blasphemous about that.
No, but it's embarrassing. Nobody wants to be seen with you wearing that.
Oh, you could have stopped this. Never mind.
Well, nobody wants to be seen with you. I mean, that is true,
that's so
too.
sad.
Let's just be
so
real.
sad.
So anyway, where did this start? In overtime,
Oh yeah.
you're going to be playing a clip featuring former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in the Senate.
Yep.
Sounds like he knew the U.S. was funding Hamas.
Yep, sure does. He was under some questioning from Senator Haggerty from Tennessee. And so in retrospect, knowing what we know now about USAID and so on and so on, but boy, Ted Cruz, he knows.
Ted Cruz says the full story of USAID funding Hamas is vast, and much of it was done in secret. Before and after October 7th, USAID flowed unaccountable hundreds of millions of dollars toward Hamas that enabled it to launch the attack and keep battling Israel afterwards. This is despicable. They lied about the nature of that aid in public databases, refused to disclose what groups were getting the money, and gave tens of millions in American cash to be distributed without American supervision. They internally admitted the aid would benefit Hamas and even exempted themselves from anti-terrorism laws, but in public issued denials. For all 4 years of the Biden administration, this is Ted Cruz speaking, I prevented them from confirming a Middle East administrator because they wouldn't acknowledge what they were doing, because continuing their secret pro-Hamas programs was more important to them. Wow. I'm telling you, this is treason.
It is absolutely treason.
It's treason. Let's just call it what it is. Nobody's charged with that anymore. They should be. We need to find out who's responsible for all this. If it's Samantha Power, fine. Charge her and try her in a court of law for treason. And then she acts like she's the one who's been wronged. She, of course, was the head of USAID for years. So now that all of this is being exposed, they're the ones who are indignant. Beautiful. That's a good look.
I want the
Keith. That's
the
a good
trials
look
to begin soon. Oh, you do? You like my new threads, Daddy-O?
I do. That, you know what? It doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to.
It looks great. It really does.
I don't know about the pants, but the shirt isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Can we get the pants on?
This is tight, though.
Oh, wow.
What size is it?
Well, how's Glenn going to get that on?
Bro.
You lost weight, right?
I mean,
yes, but yeah, he's bigger than Keith. Though.
So
Keith is wearing like 3 shirts.
I'll put the
That's
pants
true.
on. I'll put the
That's
pants
true.
on, and
we'll and your T-shirt kind of goes with it.
It does.
It looks good.
It really does. Go with it.
I like it. I like it. Hey, Mikey.
Why am I hearing Saturday Night Fever playing in my head right now?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this on. I kind of like it.
If you had like a leisure suit jacket on, it could be 1974. It really could.
A white jacket.
Or a white jacket. Yeah, and white pants. But these are much lovelier.
I'm going to try those on during the...
That's a salmon, right? Salmon
see,
color?
that bit doesn't pay off because you can't see the pants on TV unless I just put my legs up like the rest of the show, which I know Pat would love.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
What's wrong, Daddy-O?
Ooh, I like that.
Groovy. It's groovy, man. Those are far out threads.
Yeah.
888-900-3393. More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here.
I am.
On the Blaze Radio Network.
And thank you for being here as well. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We were just talking about Samantha Power a minute ago. She's saying that shutting down USAID is stopping us from saving people. She hammered Elon Musk and the Trump administration in a CNN interview. I think we played some of that for pushing out falsehoods and misinformation about USAID. It's a wonderful organization, saving lives all over the planet. Over the weekend, Musk also shared claims that Samantha Power enriched herself while running the humanitarian agency. Those claims quickly debunked by journalists. Were they? Ambassador Power, the New York Times, is reporting tonight that the Trump administration intends to cut the USAID staff. Well, yeah, and they did. Cut it from 10,000 people down to 290. So great. I mean, the cost savings here. That's just the tip of the iceberg, because what USAID is actually pumping out has been disgusting. It's just unbelievable. But, we're not saving people anymore. Where is Sally Struthers when you need her? Hi, I'm Sally Struthers. For less than the cost of the blue whale and garlic butter sauce I just ate, you could save a child in Zimbabwe who was born without a face. 99.7% of all USAID funds go to save faceless children in Zimbabwe and the southern tip of Outer Mongolia. Nearly 8/9 of all children born in those areas will be born faceless. Imagine living life without eyes, ears, nose, and a mouth. Won't you please help? I mean, if that doesn't tug at your heartstrings, I don't know what will.
Just so I'm clear.
I really don't.
Just so I'm clear, as a U.S. taxpayer, you're saying 99% of the money raised that doesn't go...
99.7%.
99.7?
Yeah, of all donations to USAID goes to saving the faceless children.
Is this before or
That's
after?
what I took from her,
after
anyway.
the big meal that we funded.
Well, she ate a blue whale in garlic butter sauce.
Okay, so are we paying for that too?
Fairly, yes.
The hell, there's nothing left over.
I guess they get free breakfast.
Okay.
At USAID.
Okay.
So, yeah, it works out pretty well for them. But now, there's a lot of people who don't have jobs. They're not employed anymore by USAID because of these unelected officials who are just tossing them out on the street randomly with no authority at all. Well, except for the authority given them by the President of the United States. Don't worry about that. So
no authority.
No authority, yes. Right.
And Jordan, too. Don't forget.
In Jordan,
according to Breaking 911.
That might be even more sad.
35,000 people are unemployed today because you refuse to send your USAID tax dollars overseas.
Selfish bastards.
I know.
Selfish. How dare you not continue the aid that we're giving to 35,000 Jordanians?
That's the report.
And how many countries around the world are like that, where they're just employing thousands, tens of thousands? Who knows? Jeez.
Terrible.
I mean, and this is the agency that helped overthrow Ukraine not once, but twice. And now we're pumping money to prop them up. It's insanity.
So wait, should we play Representative DeLauro? She's good. Rosa DeLauro.
Oh, she's always been good.
Yes, she's upset about what DOGE is doing.
Okay.
Yeah. What is this clip for?
The other piece of that is the outrage of the American public. And when you think about there is the legal issue, but you have to think about what the what are the repercussions to American families. You take education.
Why the purple hair?
She's always had that.
She's always had purple hair? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Rosa DeLauro is from Baltimore, right? Is it Baltimore or Connecticut? I know she was in I was in her district at one point, and I can't remember
that tells you she's been in Congress way too long.
Way too long.
Connecticut.
Okay. Yes, Connecticut the first time around, which was 35 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, she's been first elected in 1990.
My gosh.
Out!
That is insane. But I don't remember the purple hair.
Well, she added that, I think, a decade ago. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a damn good look.
It couldn't look. It's fine on most people.
Yes, but when you're 80, come on. You don't need purple hair when you're 80 years old.
Yeah, what do you think what's the age? What's the cutoff age for purple hair?
I'm going to say
70.
45.
Is that 45?
45, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, then you're just trying too hard. Really? If you're 46 and you need purple hair, you're trying too hard.
Well, she's 81, so she's definitely trying way too hard because you said you're 80. She's 81.
81. So. Yeah, okay. So that was a pretty good guess at her age. Anyway, let her finish because she's got a brilliant point to make here.
As you're watching her, she and so many of these people in Congress are the people in your neighborhood that you warn your kids, don't go play in Miss DeLauro's yard. Because she's crazy, man. She's crazy. But they're making laws for this nation anyway.
Yeah. And they keep putting her in office, too. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
To American families, you take education. You're looking at denying people school lunches. You're taking the opportunity for a college education.
Boy, they're playing that card.
Pell Grants.
They haven't played that card in a while.
Student financial aid.
Pell Grants.
There are a whole range of what these services do for the American public. That's the word that has to get out. When you cut education, you cut 72,000.
You know Dems are desperate when they say get the word out.
72,000 teachers nationwide are gone. Your kid may be in a classroom that doesn't have a teacher.
Oh,
Special
come on,
education
because of
for
USAID?
developmentally challenged kids. That will be cut. What happens to those
Shut
kids?
up.
But again, it's USAID, it's education.
Oh, my
They're going to
gosh.
go to Medicaid, and it is about
now
the
it's going to
effect of
Medicaid.
what happens in the lives of American people, of middle-class families,
Blah, blah, blah,
of
blah,
working
blah,
families,
blah,
of what is going to happen to their ability to be able to survive both economically.
Now
and
say this.
I'll
get you, my pretty. Say that.
Future
Say that for
going
us.
forward. That is what they are doing. They are dismantling the federal government, which
I
will
can't take it. Stop.
They're dismantling federal government. Oh,
jeez.
please.
I wish
yeah.
they were dismantling. It could use a little dismantling.
Yep. And by the way, the next time we bring up the hair color of Rosa DeLauro's situation there, I should probably sit it out if I'm wearing a purple paisley shirt and orange pants. Is probably not the best look.
No.
To be criticizing
someone
in purple.
That's a really good point, Keith. Thank you for bringing it up.
But man, they're desperate.
Keep in mind, though, not only has she been in office for 35 years, but she's been elected every other year to do that. I mean, every 2 years, she is reelected. How do you keep doing that? How stupid can you be to keep sending her back to Washington to do this kind of stuff? Ugh.
But boy, it's
agonizing.
It's so fun for a change to see Democrats.
It is.
And those on the left so desperate. This is what we have to get.
True.
This is the message we have to get out. Like, they're begging people to show up. And please, we can't keep taking these field trips as a Democrat caucus, going to the Department of Education and over at the USAID. I mean, that's a lot to ask for your elected representatives. We need y'all to go and do that. Oh, boy.
And if we can get you to set some cars and buildings on fire on the way and break some windows, that'd be great. Wait, did I just say that? I mean, no, don't do that part. Man. Tonight around midnight, the Senate is expected to vote on Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Security. That's the D&I position. Remember Barack Obama's pick for D&I? James Clapper? Clap on.
Yeah.
Clap off. Clap on, clap off, the clapper.
How do we remember
I miss that. I miss it.
Yeah, simpler times, right?
Yeah.
But no, so as you're watching this, though, this James Clapper guy, he got out of committee 15-0. Remember, Tulsi was down to the wire by one vote.
One vote? Yeah.
Skin of her teeth.
That's right.
And now, so then they did the cloture vote last night. It was 52-46, I think it was. But this Clapper guy, they did in a voice vote. Now, voice vote is a cop-out. And it's even more of a cop-out if they're going to do this vote tonight in secret.
Did they do it in secret with Clapper? I don't think so. Did they?
No, that was just a voice vote, I believe.
And why, with some of these nominees, are they doing it in
That's
secret?
what I'm trying to figure out, man.
This is bizarre.
That's what's going to happen
We've asked
tonight.
that question multiple times. I still don't have a decent answer, or an answer of any kind, really. Maybe if somebody knows, they can call us, because I don't know the reason for that.
But Diane Sawyer, with this 1-minute clip with James Clapper, just remember, this guy gets through with flying colors.
All right.
But we wondered, how did they stay in control with so much information coming in every day? For instance, the afternoon of our interview, the day's news had been filled with the terror arrest, 12 people in London just that morning. But when we asked the director of intelligence...
London, how serious is it? Any implication that it was coming here? Any of the things that they have seen were coming here?
He doesn't know what she's talking about.
Director Clapper.
What?
The arrest of the 12 individuals by the British this morning.
Yes.
This is something that the British informers...
Oh, you're talking about... Oh,
Later in the interview, I came back to the director. Did he really not know?
I was a little surprised you didn't know about London, Director Clapper.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
What's this?
He admits it.
Well, you referenced London, but you didn't talk about the arrests.
Oh
my gosh.
He probably thought you were asking about Big Ben or something like that. You didn't say the arrest. You weren't specific, Diane.
Oh my gosh.
15-0 in committee, voice vote, James Clapper. Tulsi, skin of her teeth. Good luck tonight, Tulsi.
Wow. How could you be that uninformed when you're trying to become the D&I director.
He looked like he was in a trance, so he goes like...
Yeah, he's like...
Oh, you're talking
what?
to me? I mean, we've all been there in class. Right?
I've never heard of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not as director of national intelligence. Well, you didn't ask him about the
arrests. He thought you meant what? What do you think you mean? Unbelievable. I didn't remember that from what year was that? 2010,
I think.
Okay. So this was the era of where we did have, I don't know, social media, websites, internet, telephones. I think we had, I'm pretty sure we had televisions at the time, radios. There were many forms of getting information spread out to the American people, but then, somehow clear back in the ancient times of 2010, we couldn't get this information to the D&I director or the guy who wanted to be D&I director. That's incredible. Thank heaven these people are not in charge anymore. Wow, what a blessing it is to have the leadership that we right now have. All right, let me be real with you. I need my sleep. You need your sleep. I get up really early in the morning, and if I don't sleep well, the entire day falls apart. I can't speak right. I can't think right. Forget things. I'm in a bad mood, just running on fumes. So for the longest time, falling asleep was a big problem. Lay in bed, exhausted, and my mind wouldn't shut off. And if I did fall asleep, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours until the alarm went off. And there is nothing worse than laying there thinking, geez, I got to get up at 3. Okay, it's now 11. Now it's 11:30. Okay, it's 11:45. Okay, I can get at most 3 hours of sleep here. It sucks. So that's why I'm so glad to have found Beam's Dream Powder. It's delicious hot cocoa that you just mix it up and with milk is the way I like it because it's creamier that way. But you could do water if you want, milk or water, and it comes in great flavors like salted caramel, which is my favorite. But it has melatonin in it. It has reishi. It's all natural, only 15 calories and 0 grams of sugar. So this is great stuff. If you want better sleep, go to shopbeam.com/Pat. Shopbeam, BEAM. Shopbeam.com/Pat. Use the promo code Pat and get up to 40% off right now. That's BEAM. Shopbeam.com/Pat.
Subscribe to Pat Gray Unleashed on Apple Music and Spotify. Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome to it. Was there an actual feel-good moment in Congress last night in the House? Did Congressman...
Wait,
we've got yesterday we had
a feel-good moment. It was last week, and it was with the dude that is pretending...
It wasn't yesterday, it wasn't last night, it was last week. Is that what you're telling me?
That's the one I'm telling you.
Okay.
And so, there's a guy who is playing make-believe.
Okay.
And he's a congressman from Delaware. But he wants us to refer to him as a girl. So his name is Tim McBride. Mm-hmm. He wants you to call him Sarah McBride. And I love how the GOP-led House of Representatives wasn't playing. They weren't on the heels. They were prepared for this. Normally they react to stuff after the fact, but no, they were ready for Tim McBride, the congressman from Delaware who wants to be a girl.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Delaware, Mr. McBride, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When I was elected...
How great is that? How great is that?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
We're not calling you Mrs. McBride.
First of all, I want to say that you just dead-named me.
Yeah.
Is that what we had to hear?
Basically. No, I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
What his speech was
it's
about.
real? He's really doing this?
Oh, yeah. Don't you remember? That was a feel-good story from election night. Look at this. The first openly trans...
Yeah.
woman
God.
from
And he
Delaware.
had issues with Macy. Remember, Macy was like, "I'm not gonna go shop."
Yeah. Right.
Nancy Mace.
That's great.
Macy. Who had a big speech. Oh, boy.
Well, he's a Territorian, so
night.
you got to cut him a little slack, Keith.
That's right.
Territorians don't know the actual
We
term. Right.
We don't.
So,
We try our best.
Okay.
So anyway, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
We're not playing your game. We're not going to go and play make believe
interesting.
and dress up with you.
Wow,
dude.
Dang.
So they saw that coming and were prepared to act appropriately.
They made sure that
Mr. McBride from Delaware.
They used
Gentleman.
male pronouns with them. That's interesting.
I like
wow.
it.
Are they gonna? Apparently, they're gonna keep doing that.
I mean, I guess as long as he's
gonna
playing
get
dress up.
pissed.
What is he gonna do?
I don't know.
I thought he.
I don't know.
It's ma'am. Slap me?
It is ma'am.
Yeah, he might do that.
Might backhand me.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you such a slap. Last night in the House of Representatives. Wow, this is sad, though. Yeah. This is a little different. Did Congressman John Larson have a stroke or something? What happened here?
Something bad.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Don't worry, no one on the Republican side in the House and Senate who control both the House and Senate is going to speak up and challenge us.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh.
Not good. This is tough to watch.
Yeah.
But we need to
and then he
protect Americans' privacy and their social security.
Okay.
He actually got through it, though.
He did. He actually got to the gavel.
For 40%.
Yeah.
Nobody's helping him.
Yeah,
Nobody.
They bring him a
Americans.
Bring him a glass of water. And
he needs more than water.
Social Security.
It's timed out, but yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Is the basis for their retirement. And their retirement.
Do we know if they got him help after
I'm
this?
looking. I don't see it confirmed that it was a stroke or anything like that. They're not saying publicly that I'm seeing.
For 28 million Americans.
This is too hard to watch. Yeah. Do you remember the reporter who had that happen to her in the middle of the broadcast? We called it a abertation because that's a word she used.
That's what she said,
during that particular time period. And didn't we find out it wasn't a stroke. It was something else.
I forgot
right?
what it was, but
she was only like in her 20s.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's what, 60 something?
I just looked him up, 72
70?
or something. I forget. But
I mean, I hope they got him looked at after that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a follow up.
Come on.
Oh, this says adverse reaction to medication.
Okay. Well, that's better than a stroke.
Okay.
An adverse, of course, that's the garbage we hear from these people all the time so they can continue in office when they're messed up. God, what was, the excuse for McConnell when he froze those multiple times? Was that, he was dehydrated.
Yeah.
He's dehydrated? I've been dehydrated.
And you froze,
Come on.
Right? And you froze. Oh, no. It happened again.
What the hell? Get him some water.
Get him water.
Okay. There we go. That'll fix it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm all right.
You're better now?
I'm all right.
Good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Good.
And then recently, he fell down the stairs.
Twice.
Oh,
and then
injured himself.
Yeah.
The guy should not be in the Senate. Just go home. Please, by all that is holy, go home.
And to your point about, hey, can somebody get him some help? That was an empty chamber. They give these speeches in empty chambers where nobody's watching except for the presiding officer who has to be there.
Yeah.
But then I see this thing.
Gosh, it's so hard to watch.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Just heartbreaking.
But speaking of empty chambers, somebody posted in the Blaze chat, I appreciate it, Yvonne, we talked about the James Clapper voice vote. That was in a near empty chamber. It's like maybe a handful of people like, Clapper for national
and that's
intelligence.
No doubt why they did it.
What in this government? Okay.
Yeah, it's corrupt. I mean, there's too many people who are on the take. There's too many people who don't care about America. There's too many people who are on the brink of really bad health crises. I mean, can we please stop sending the aged to Congress. Could we please? And the executive branch as well. It applies there. And the Supreme Court. All three branches, I'm going to say, stop sending people who are, 80 plus.
Okay, so you like young, fresh faces, maybe 43 years old, right? That's a good age, right?
Yeah, that's a good age.
Like a Jasmine Crockett, a representative from Dallas. She's good, right? Wait, what? You just said you wanted someone younger.
I did.
Oh, look at you. Now you're changing
now I'm
the
being
parameters.
Picky. We'll get to her
Give it back.
in a second. Okay. Hang on, because I got to tell you about real estate agents I trust. Anytime you have to make a really big change in life, it can be really hard and really stressful, especially when you're trying to sell your house or buy one. It's really complicated, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort to make. You got to make a lot of decisions, and the stakes are really high. So, you want the best real estate agent you can possibly find to help you through that process, right? To remove some of that stress, to help you with those decisions, because they're hard. And you want somebody you can trust. And almost all of these, if not all of these agents, are fans of the show. And so you're going to have a lot of things in common with them. You're not going to have to put up with nonsense while you're driving around looking at properties with them. And they can give you great advice. Real Estate Agents I Trust. This is the company that Glenn put together so that you wouldn't have to go through what he went through when he sold his house in Connecticut. RealestateAgentsITrust.com. The name really says it all. RealestateAgentsITrust.com. All right, we will get to Jasmine Crockett because we want youth, right? We want a youth movement in Congress.
Don't go moving the goalpost, Pat.
And we'll hear from her next.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got some tweets here. Giblets tweets, Mr. McBride from Delaware didn't seem too upset at being introduced as a man.
He's probably used to it.
Yeah, might be. Especially at this point, with the Republican majority, they're not playing this game. President, my boss. Oh, no. I don't know how I'm going to sleep knowing Samantha Power lost her useless, expensive communist job. Oh, wait. Beam Dream. That's how.
99.
Nice. Connecticut overseas or CT overseas. I'm not sure if that's an abbreviation for Connecticut, but looks like I picked the wrong day to sleep late. Is today Disco Tuesday? How come Pat isn't dressed accordingly? Yeah, it is not Disco Tuesday.
It's not?
Keith has confiscated the very thoughtful gift I gave to Glenn yesterday on his birthday.
I love it. Thank you for this.
And
comfortable. Good threads.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Looks really, really good.
Yeah, thanks.
So congratulations on
Appreciate
that.
you.
Yeah. Well, Glenn hasn't worn it.
Right.
I've given it to him many, many times, and he's never worn it.
I got news for you.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn ain't getting into this.
Yeah. Looks a little tight.
It is tight.
Little tight. Now, yesterday, we had Jasmine Crockett. There's a lot of racism that gets tolerated on the left.
Boy,
here's a really good example of that from the other day.
Give it back to the daggone Native Americans, and then we can't go back nowhere else. And let's see how y'all like it. Start over. Because the colonizers, y'all the colonizers, but that's a whole other story. So I'm just saying.
Gosh. And they just sit there and take it.
Yeah, the blonde,
we all the colonizers. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde chick is just nodding her head. The white chick, yep. Sorry. What did you colonize? Chick?
Unreal.
Yeah, it just
so her racism is perfectly acceptable, I guess.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You're telling me she likes white people? She doesn't care about what color of skin you have? Come on. That's garbage.
Yep.
Why is that tolerated?
I don't know.
Also, yesterday we had the clip of CBS News. They were going over some of Trump's really positive numbers, like, for instance, his highest approval number ever, 53%. He's above water on all kinds of issues. People love what he's doing right now, and they do believe that he is delivering what he promised. 70% of Americans believe that. 70%. That's a lot more than just Republicans. Democrats are admitting, yeah, well, this is what he said he was going to do, and he's doing it. So today we hear from CNN.
You know, I think one of the things that's so important for politicians is for folks to believe what they're saying and that they're keeping their campaign promises. So I think this gives you a pretty gosh darn good idea of what may be going on. Trump's doing what he promised to do. Right. You go back to April of 2017, it was just 46% of all Americans who said that Trump was doing what he promised to do. Compare that now to February of 2025. You know, there was a good show that was on during the 1990s called A Different World. That is what's going on right now. We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do. Again, compare that to April of 2017 when it's just 46%. When Americans are 24 points more likely to say that you're doing what you promised to do, it's no wonder that your net approval rating is much more likely to be on the positive side of the ledger than on the negative side. And so far, what we're seeing, again, is Americans, 21 days so far versus just 11 days during his entire first term, that Trump has a positive net approval rating. Quite a different world.
And that was CNN wasn't done. That was one side of the spectrum.
All right.
Here is the other side of the spectrum.
Okay.
We are 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, 3 weeks, and tonight there are warnings that the U.S. is dangerously close to a constitutional crisis. Now, the first shoe on this dropped when a federal judge today said the White House is defying his order to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal aid, marking the first time that we've had a judge expressly accuse the Trump administration of ignoring a court ruling. And in a separate case today,
they've
federal
got no power
employees here
over the
in
executive
Washington
branch.
told a judge that the administration was defying another order by not reinstating workers who had been put on leave. Now, this all has prominent Democrats and many of the nation's top constitutional scholars declaring that the U.S. is on the brink of a reckoning.
Name them.
The Trump Justice Department says the president should have the authority to decide how to run the government,
What terrible
and that these
journalism
judges
this
are
is.
overreaching. And some of the president's allies say the judges should not be judging any of the moves to shrink the federal government.
Correct. Correct. So is she just trying to go right down the middle then?
No.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
No.
Keith. No, but the way she set that up, I mean...
we're on the brink of a constitutional crisis.
I agree with that,
we?
Actually. I do. Because these judges need to know their place. And it ain't dictating what the executive branch does.
That's for sure.
So either Trump ignores them or the Supreme Court needs to convene quickly.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the Supreme Court would step in, slap these people down.
Yeah.
And remind them of their place.
Yes, and then 3 weeks in, he's got 13 confirmations for the 22 spots, I think, in his cabinet. Let's go. Let's go.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, one of the few who have been confirmed already, he was on SiriusXM to clarify the U.S. stance on foreign aid under this administration. He said, we're not, how did he put it? We're not walking away from foreign aid. We're only walking away from foreign aid that is dumb.
Nice.
I love it.
I love it.
So here's the exact quote. We are walking away from foreign aid that's dumb, that's stupid, that wastes American taxpayer money. We're just not going to continue to do that. That is so great. Thank you, Marco Rubio.
And when you see moments like this and quotes like that, just always remember where we came from. Antony Blinken to Marco Rubio.
Right.
Thank you, Lord.
He said, I'm a supporter of PEPFAR. I've been in Congress. I am now as Secretary of State. It's a program we want to continue. Obviously, we're going to have questions about it. Look, if PEPFAR is working well, it's a program that should be getting smaller over time, not bigger, right? Because you're preventing HIV. You're preventing the spread of HIV, and so people aren't testing positive because their viral load gets down. They're not passing it on to their children, he said. So ideally, it's a program that over time shrinks, not expands, because less and less people are getting HIV. That's true. Or are transmitting it to their children. That was always the goal. An AIDS-free generation, so no child was born with HIV. But It's a program I've supported, and we want to continue to do it. Are people going to starve to death? Are we going to have a famine? Is it going to destabilize a country in a way that would be negative to our national interest and open the door for radical jihadists or others to take advantage? No, we're going to continue to do those things. Rubio, though, said there's a need to redefine what qualifies as humanitarian aid. Isn't that the truth? The problem is that the definition of humanitarian aid has expanded beyond that to all kinds of other things that don't make sense. That doesn't mean they're bad ideas. Someone should do it. That's so great. It just shouldn't be the American taxpayer. Thank you, Marco, for understanding that very simple concept. We had a guy on the other day on Glenn's show that called in and was trying to defend USAID's expenditures. And one of his things was he started, and this is what these lefties do. They start with scripture. And so he started with, when you've done it under the least of these, you've done it. Okay, I know the scripture. Okay, but I also know to whom that's directed. And it's not directed to Rome. It's not directed at governments. It's directed at you and me as individuals. That's who should be doing this stuff, not the U.S. government. Because once the U.S. government forces my taxpayer dollars out of me and then blows it on whatever, I haven't done that willingly. That's not charity. That's force. And that is a tool of Satan. That is the adversary. That's its choice. When you choose to do good things, that can be charity.
Boy. Yeah, and when liberals, like we've seen with representatives over the last week or two, when they start saying, we need to be out in the streets and we need to get this message out, they're desperate. When their minions are calling talk radio and trying to reach a conservative audience and tug at their heartstrings, that's another indicator that they are on their heels, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
That is good stuff, man.
Yep. So I guess we can take pleasure in that, knowing that it's effective.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't screaming at the top of their lungs, then it's probably not effective.
It's like,
they're fine with it. All right, go ahead and do that.
This, and to your point on Rubio's quotes, it's like we're not stopping aid, which
right.
We can have a different discussion on that.
Yeah.
But it's like government isn't shutting down. Look at how effective FEMA has been in North Carolina in the last couple of weeks.
And I wonder why. What's happened the last couple of... Oh, that's right. We had regime change.
That's right. It's like the help is getting there. That's the thing. It's actually working now.
Big
this
time.
Government.
Big time.
Oh.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And by the way, I love how those on the left. I saw a meme that said, it showed somebody. It's like, we need to see Trump's taxes, and then it's like, you shouldn't see what USAID spends money on.
I love that.
Right.
So, that's great. I hadn't even thought of it that way.
Sums it up nicely, right?
Because, man, did you remember the uproar over seeing his taxes? I wanted to see him, too, because I didn't think at that time he was worth as much as he said he was.
Oh, you just wanted curiosity.
I just wanted, I was just curious about it. Are you really worth $10 billion? Because maybe. Maybe. He might be now with the watch sales and the bobblehead sales.
Oh, yeah, Trumpy Trump.
And the Trumpy Trump.
Shout out to Trumpy Trump.
Look at that. Yeah. So,
and the sneakers. Don't forget the
sneakers. Right.
And what was the thing he sold right on day one? It was...
the coin? The Trump coin?
Was it the Trump coin? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it skyrocketed to $8 billion in a day. I think some of that went away, but... It was worth $8 billion, I think, day after.
How's Trumpy Bear doing, by the way? Does he feel crowded out by Trumpy Trout?
I think he does.
I see. Okay. And by the way, more than 65,000 federal workers took the buyout offer.
Oh, we're up to 65,000 now.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And public sector union bosses apparently are freaking out because now their grift is in jeopardy because they're losing all of these federal workers' dues and all this stuff. I mean, the machine is starting to grind a little bit, It's still looking for that WD-40 all of a sudden. But can you imagine, the thought occurred to me yesterday, as great as DOGE is and what Donald Trump and his team are doing, can you imagine if Calvin Coolidge had a DOGE team working with him? Instead of just Coolidge and his OMB guy just sitting
like
there.
It was him and his mailman or something, wasn't it?
It was just the two of them. It was every week.
I got a friend. I'm going to bring him in. He's an accountant. We're going to go over the books. But it worked.
It sure did.
Got us out of a seriously deep depression.
Yeah.
They say deeper than what happened in 29. And so we got out of that in a year rather than 12 years.
And can I just say, I love the team that is around him. And I think that our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is...
Oh, that guy's great.
Just going to be so great for this job.
Brilliant. So good. And all of these people are so brave. They just got giblets, and they're willing to say the things that need to be said to the people who are opposing their agenda. All right. Let me tell you about Cover-Up. Most Americans have been aware of Anthony Fauci since the COVID pandemic really took off in 2020. But Dr. Richard Ebright, a molecular biologist from Rutgers, has had Fauci on his radar since the 2001 anthrax scare, after which Dick Cheney empowered him and the NIAID with the authority and funding for biodefense, once reserved solely for the Department of Defense. Then they put him in charge of things. Why? In the latest episode of Matt Kibbe's documentary series, The Cover-Up, he joins Dr. Ebright as he walks us through a series of embarrassments that begin with the recreation of the deadly 1918 Spanish flu and culminates with the coming of COVID-19. Now, why in the world would you recreate the Spanish flu, which killed, was it 20 million people? More than that in 1918 and 19? It killed millions here in the U.S. It killed millions in Europe. It swept the planet. Why would you bring that back?
50 million worldwide.
Oh, I was way under. Geez, 50 million?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Wow. Well, together, Matt Kibbe and Richard Ebright will connect the dots and trace the funding, giving you the answers you've been demanding for years about the dark research, the fraud, the corruption surrounding Anthony Fauci. It's a fatal culture of hubris and graft that left so much destruction and mistrust in its wake. Isn't that the truth? And then they wonder why there are conspiracy theories that still circulate online today. Watch episode 4 of The Cover-Up, Smoking Gun, on Blaze TV. It's released day after tomorrow, Thursday. Become a subscriber at FauciCoverup.com/Pat. Use the promo code Smoking Gun for $30 off your subscription. That's FauciCoverup.com/Pat. Code Smoking Gun for $30 off your subscription. So once you subscribe, then you'll also have access to all the other great documentaries and all of the overtime stuff that we do, all of the overtime stuff that everybody does. The Glenn podcasts. I mean, you just get access to everything. It's really worth it. And $30 off, I don't know where that puts the price. Somewhere at, I don't know, $90 for the year. Not a month. It's for the year. Did you see the Dallas Cowboys are now talking about trading Micah Parsons? Wouldn't it be something if Dallas's two biggest sports teams both got rid of their best players in the same year? What are they trying to do? Just drive away all the fans? Did the Cowboys not have a bad enough year this last year that now they got to get rid of their best defensive player? Crazy.
Boy, I mean, they should lay low.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mavs took all the heat for Dallas sports teams for the next generation.
Man, they sure did.
With the Luka trade.
Holy cow.
And by the way, the guy, the Anthony Davis guy that they got, he's out.
He's already out.
Several weeks.
He's one game. I mean, he had a great game.
Yeah.
He was having a great game.
And
I think
in that same game is where
it was
happened.
3 quarters, right? And then he tore an abductor in his stomach or something. So now he's out for weeks.
Yep. That's
the way it's going for Dallas sports right now.
I tell you, what a mess. Just of their own doing.
Yep, no question. All right, speaking of really old people in Congress, as we were moments ago, we have new video of Mitch McConnell.
Oh, was this last night, huh? At the end of a long day in Congress?
Okay.
Let's see here.
All right.
Okay, so he's in a wheelchair. He's got a thing on his leg. And
how are you feeling, Leader McConnell?
He can't hear you. Can't hear you. It's probably deaf.
Yeah. How you doing?
He's dehydrated.
He'll be doing much better. He's thinking, when I get to my terranium, I got to get
How are
back
you
to
feeling,
my
Leader McConnell?
terranium's waiting for me.
Yeah. No response. Is he frozen again? Did he freeze? Is that why he's not?
Dehydrated.
Okay, they literally have to lift him out of the wheelchair.
That's not good.
Into the SUV. But keep him in the Senate, will you please? Keep him as Leader McConnell, will you? Because could there be a better leader than Leader McConnell?
Well,
I don't think so.
It's John Thune now, thankfully.
That's true. But keep him as, the former leader that we still refer to as Leader McConnell.
Kentucky pride right there.
Oh, my gosh. That, to put this guy through it at this stage in his life is despicable. It's the same thing they were doing to Biden. Now they're just doing it with McConnell.
I mean, this is on him. He could leave.
He could leave.
But I heard an interesting theory in recent years that I think holds some truth. I think these people think that by remaining in office, they are able to kind of control what information about their dirty deeds, done dirt cheap, get out. And so when you have that power and you can keep a lid on that information until you're gone, and I don't know, man.
Then it doesn't matter anymore.
It could just be that the power is that intoxicating, but still, bro, get out.
Yeah, it's despicable. And this is another thing we need to end. I'm not sure if it'll end under Trump since he's 78 years old, so maybe he doesn't feel the same way. But when you show signs of this kind of deterioration, where you're freezing up during press conferences, where you're falling downstairs multiple times, where you got to be lifted out of your wheelchair and placed in the van or SUV, it's time to go. Yeah. When your mind is gone and you can't speak and you can't think and you can't remember, it's time to go. When you have to have hip replacements and you can't even get around the Capitol building, it's time to go. Okay?
Have some pride.
Yeah, jeez.
Just
have some love for America. Let somebody else do the actual job. And that applies to both Democrats and Republicans. Wow. Speaking of all this nonsense, did you see that USAID, and don't call it USAID because that's not what it stands for. It's not USAID. It's U.S. Agency of International Development. But they paid for Al-Qaeda terrorists' college. They paid for Anwar al-Awlaki to attend college in Colorado, apparently. That's according to unearthed documents. Thanks to the coders that Elon Musk brought in. Apparently, we're finding out this kind of stuff. Al-Awlaki was an American-born jihadist. We lost him, though. We lost him. He was killed in a drone strike in Yemen in 2011 during the Obama administration. He was a central figure of Al-Qaeda, of course, you might remember, including having direct contact with Army psychiatrist Nidal Hassan before he opened fire at Fort Hood in 2009, killing 13 people. So amid this DOGE investigation, we've found out about some of this USAID funding. How are they going to defend this? It's an independent government agency charged with managing foreign aid programs, and think tanks at DOGE have found that bankrolled a series of questionable programs over the years, including helping launch an Iraqi version of Sesame Street, promoting transgender activism in nations like Guatemala, which they deny, but it's all right there in usspending.gov. Social media accounts erupted this week with a copy of a document reportedly showing USAID also funded al-Awlaki's tuition at Colorado State. The document, which investigative reporters unearthed and posted to X over the weekend, shows that a USAID form dated June 1990 outlined al-Awlaki reportedly granted funding to attend the college by fraudulently claiming he was a Yemeni national and qualified for an exchange visa. He was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico, to parents from Yemen. He was raised in both U.S. and Yemen. The unearthed document previously was reported by George Washington University's Research and Archival Institution, the National Security Archive. This form, dated 1990, confirms that Anwar al-Awlaki was qualified for an exchange visa and that USAID was providing full funding for his studies at Colorado State University. Isn't that wonderful?
Go Rams.
I bet he attended all the football games, all the basketball games. I'm sure he loved that stuff.
Definitely.
Just got involved in campus life. You know, it's probably the life of the parties on Friday nights. The document lists his birthplace incorrectly as Sana'a, Yemen, which he later said was a deliberate falsehood offered at the urging of American officials who knew his father, so he could qualify for a scholarship reserved for foreign students.
Oh, those are good.
Isn't that great? Oh, man. And this is the agency that the Democrats are screaming and crying and about to set the nation on fire over. All right. We got overtime coming up. I will see you on the Glenn Beck program today, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
It's weak. It's ineffective.